Howdy toddy everybody, this is Tommy with Colonel Rev Scale Models coming at you with an update of sorts for the historical aircraft group build hosted by the man Frankie Day. I haven't actually got started on the real kit, but I saw this at Hobbytown USA when I was there a few weeks back, and it was at the counter. So I kind of thumbed through all the choices and I came across this one and I had to have it. And the person who gave me the idea to even see these things was Richie at R Saturn 9, who has done one himself recently. And here it is. It's the Metal Earth series of almost like photo etch parts that you build into. They have, obviously this is the Wright Flyer, which I'm building for the historical group build, but they have tanks, they have aircraft, they have series. I actually saw them, a bunch of them, in larger boxes the other day at Barnes & Noble, the bookstore, which actually does carry some Airfix kits in, I think, 1/72 scale. They seem to be a little bit pricey. I'm not really sure about Airfix kits because I've never built one, but they have a series of these in larger boxes. So for, I think they have one as a World War II planes. I think it has a Mustang, P-47, and maybe a Spitfire or something like that. But they have them in sets, they have buildings, different things throughout history. So I picked this up. It's about $8, and I think Michael's carries them, and maybe Hobby Lobby, which I think maybe they're about $7. I'm not sure, but I'd never seen this one, so I picked it up. So I'm going to put it together real quick, or hopefully it's real quick. Be back in just a little bit. All right, fellas. After about an hour and a half, I did have a couple little snafus. The Metal Earth 3D laser cut model is complete and very shiny. It had its challenging parts. This is the rear, it's the front ailerons. You can see in there the little motor. Sorry about the lighting, guys. This thing is hard to, with all the light bouncing off of it, but there I am. It was a little bit of a challenge. For the most part, it was fairly simple. As you can see, the instructions are very good. I mean, it shows you, exactly how to make the pieces. The only part I got hung up on, I had to go back and redo, was this part. These are the two sides of the wing, the boxes that you construct, and the pieces have etching on one side and it's just flat on the other. So you see the exposed etching, like you see here. You see the lines engraved to simulate ribbing on the original aircraft. And I just wasn't paying attention. I got the first one correct, and the second one I just pushed it together and didn't realize all the while that I had the pieces backwards. So I don't know if you can see this, but they're really tiny. Obviously it's like working with just a sheet of photo etch, and then some of them you can see how they're kind of stuck through, and it suggests that you take them, pinch them and twist them to pull them tight. And then some other ones, like what you see, let's see if I can catch one here, like that one right there, you kind of push it down. The problem that I found with trying to push them down is because what you're pushing on is so thin. The metal is so thin, as you can tell. When you see some of these pieces, and there's my finger, they're so thin that when you try to push any force of bending on them, you just can't. It just wobbles. So it's really hard to do that. So in essence, the twisting, and it shows fingerprints, so I tried to keep it. Actually, I did this, put it all together with the gloves on, the latex gloves on, to keep a minimum of the chrome clean. But it after about halfway through, I stopped to use my fingers better. And you know, you can take a Q-tip, a dry Q-tip, and rub any oil that was on your fingers. I did wash my hands really good, but you know, after a while, you know, you do develop some oil and it gets on it. But you can just simply take a Q-tip. That's what I did, and got most of this off. But it was really fun. I mean, again, for you know, for $7 to $8, depending on where you buy them. They do have them at Michael's for sure, probably Hobby Lobby, and then Hobbytown USA is where I got this one. I mean, it's really cool. I showed it to the kids when I finished before making the video, and my son was like, "Oh, hang that in my room," because he's got some my previous Spitfire that I built from a long time ago hanging in the room, and then also some die-cast airliners, you know, Delta, Continental, Copa Airlines, things like that, that I have hanging from the ceiling in his room. So anyway, he thought that was pretty cool, so I thought that was neat. And you know, like I said, you can see how small this is. I mean, that's the palm of my hand. Very, very shiny. But I would advise anybody to go out. If you see one, pick them up. Like I said, there's tons of different things, a lot of buildings, a lot of famous, you know, like your Eiffel Tower, your Empire State Building, I think the White House they have, or maybe the Capitol, and then you have tanks, you have aircraft from World War II, so, and then obviously different things like this. So anyway, don't want to make this video too long, but that is my somewhat of, I guess I could say this was an entry in the historical aircraft Greek build, although being metal, it doesn't qualify. But I thought it was pretty cool nonetheless. So I'm going to get started on a tank, try to finish up some of these others and get started on the real Wright Flyers. And yes, fellas, the reflection there is one of my old shirts that I got when I was at my sister's, just something to wear around the house, something to sleep in. And for those of you in Louisiana, you might recognize as those feared Bayou Bengals, and one of Ole Miss's biggest rivals, along with the Bulldogs of Stark Patch at Mississippi State. So anyway, so I want to cut this short, starting to run low on battery. So again, everybody keep building, hotty toddy, and God bless.